Hello and welcome to the first video of the Team Calamity Fun Fantasy Trading Card Game Deck Profile Series. Today James will be showcasing his Wind Water Gullwings deck, so if you could take us away, James.
Cool, yeah. I've had quite a lot of success with this deck in the first place. I have played about 8 or 9 tournaments so far and I've only lost 3 games. So massive success with it, and I'm also going to be continuing to play it in Opus 2 as well. But I'll just go through and explain some of my card choices. First of all, up front, 3 Legendary Tidus. Blitz Ace, when you're losing, incredible ability. Funny enough, I consider it to be one of the worst cards in the deck. However, when you're in a losing position, you can Blitz Ace and bring it back. I do not play the starter deck Tidus. I feel that the 2 extra Tidus, Legendary Tidus, is enough for Blitz Ace. I haven't felt the need I need to do it more than that. Next thing up, very undervalued card, Waka. The boost when you attack, as well as the status wheels, just make this an incredible card, and the fact that it's a starter deck card is even more insane. You know, you can kill Prishes with this, you can destroy anything that's way too big to take over anything, and with a decent board you can make this incredibly powerful. So I wouldn't recommend running the backup to go with it, but this is more than enough, and you can fetch it with Brother as well. Cool. Next thing is something I'm trying out, because who doesn't like a bit of fun? Gordon. Now the reason I play Gordon is my losses so far have been to Firewind Unblockable. Now, Firewind Unblockable has a real problem with this card. Because it can block Zidane and win. It can block Lan. The idea behind it is you have it active. If your opponent swings with Lan, you just simply declare block, tap him, and it prevents the next damage that he would receive. So that Lan is not getting through. You can also use Fairy on it to use it multiple times. So very much recommend it. Very, very good against Firewind Unblockable. Unfortunately, it's very weak against Legendary Squall, because it will just get blown up every time. Now, no deck would be complete without one of the best cards in the game, like Cloud. Speaks for itself, you know, one of the best cards in the game. Use Omnislash, break anything. Also, you've got Meteor Rain as well to deal the 4000 spread damage, especially good when you're playing against Golbez. I do play a 4th copy of Cloud. The reason why I play this one over the 2-drop one is because I also play Cosmos, so I can actually play him in a pinch, and it makes all of my forwards 1000 power more, and makes them much more of a threat. Best card in the game, doesn't need that many explanation. Play it, it's good. Right, now we get to the actual meat. Riku. So, reason why it's so good, with the Una backup, becomes 8000 power, cannot be targeted by summons. Play Pain, becomes even 10,000 power, cannot be targeted by abilities also. Anyone who's come across the Final Fantasy X starter deck knows how good this combo is. It's just especially good when you're playing against a meta of 3-drop Shivas, 4-drop Odins, anything like that. Very, very good card. Unfortunately with Una, well, without Una, she is quite bad. So when we get the new Riku in Opus 2, Pain in Opus 2, the fact that you can search out Una, fantastic. It means this card is just much more consistent. And without this, she just wouldn't be all that. So Pain is great. She is 7000 power, so she crashes with Lan. She also, when you control Una, draw a card when she comes in. If you control Riku, you get to untap all the 3 backups you just used to play her. She is being replaced by the Opus 2 Pain when it comes out, because it's just a much better card. But for now, it does its job. Cool. And next up, we have Zidane. Again, the card that doesn't need that much explanation. Very, very good card. Cannot be targeted by summons or abilities. And if your opponent is playing anything 4 cost or more, just sneak underneath it. We have removal for anything 3-drop, so it just sneaks through constantly. A card that I will continue to play through Opus 2 as well. which leads me up to my final forward, Cloud of Darkness. So Cloud of Darkness is in there just in case the board gets to an uncontrollable point. If your opponent has gone very, very wide and you need to clean it up, or if Light Cloud is your only forward, you can play Cloud of Darkness, clear the whole board, leave Light Cloud, and then you can use the Omni Slash to clear your opponent's only forward. So that is all of the forwards. So next I will move on to the summons. Very, very simple lineup. 3 Leviathan. With the 2-drop, cost Una backup, becomes a 2-drop. Very, very good removal. The fact it's an EX trigger as well is absolutely ridiculous. It's just very, very reactive card. You can use it to protect your own cards, use it to remove your opponent's threats. Absolutely love it. Fantastic card. Next thing is 3 Moogle. Again, EX trigger, great to hit off the damage. But this is mainly to dig for Una and also extra copies of Light Cloud. It's just a very, very good draw card, and it can also help control your hand. If you're playing things like the Emperor, I wouldn't recommend it, because you really don't want to draw into those extra copies. But in this particular deck, you want to draw into your extra copies of things like Waka, Light Cloud, Legendary Tidus, so it's a very good card to have. And last of my summons, 3 Fairy. Becomes a 1 cost with Una. It's very, very good when you're playing against things like snow, or your cards are getting frozen by ice. It's a very reactive card, so when your opponent swings, they're not expecting it. So Fairy, target your forward, draw a card. The fact it's an EX trigger as well, very, very good. I wouldn't recommend playing Sylph, mainly because you do not draw a card from it, so you don't actually maintain card advantage. That is it for the summons, so it's just 9, which leads us finally up to the backups. So I've mentioned it multiple times in this video. 3 Una. Incredible card. Turns on Riku, turns on Pain. It also allows you to make your Leviathan a 2-drop. Makes your Moogle still a 1-drop sadly, but it makes your Fairy a 1-drop. So yeah, very, very powerful card. If your opponent knows what they're doing, they'll always aim for this card to destroy it first. Yep. Utter love 3 of it. When we get the new Pain in Opus 2, it'll be even better because we can search it out. Next thing is 3 Archer. I've been playing with the numbers around this card, but I think 3 is the right number, because even if you don't need it, you can discard it for your Wind Crystal points and play your other backups, or play down Zidane, play Riku. It has some good targets for it, but sometimes it's just not that useful, but it's a very good 2-drop backup to have around. The next is 2 Minwu. I did originally start playing with 3, but 3 was too many. It's a good card, but sometimes it's just not that useful. But 2 is the right number for it. I will probably replace it with Rosa when Opus 2 comes out, just because I'd appreciate the card draw more, and the fact that you can activate a special and it becomes a Minwu anyway. Next thing is one of the other best cards in the game, Aerith. Most of you will come across this card. So when it enters the battlefield, you can get to untap up to 3 backups. So you can tap 3 backups, play it, they all untap. And Planet Protector. Activate all forwards you control. They cannot be chosen by summons or abilities this turn. Protects your plays, stops you dying to removal. The only thing it doesn't stop is things like Shantotto, or if field clear abilities, as well as Cloud of Darkness, it doesn't stop. You just need to be careful. Very good card. I did experiment with the 4th copy of Aerith, but I found it was too much. I was just overdrawing copies of it. So I think just the 3 base is enough. Next thing is a card that I can't recommend enough if you're playing Water, Geomancer. Now the reason why I play 3 Geomancer is how good it is at filtering through your draws as well as your EX trigger. If you're keeping it untapped, it's a threat. When your opponent swings, you can look at your top card. If it's not an EX trigger, or if it's a card you'd rather not hit with damage, put it on the bottom of the deck. You're that much likely to hit your EX triggers. If you're hitting Leviathans, hitting Fairies, etc., fantastic. Either that, or if you don't, you look at your next card and you can see what you're going to draw. Helps you filter, helps you find those Light Clouds, help you find the extra copies of Waka. Fantastic card, couldn't recommend. Next two is Maria. The reason why I played 2 is I did initially play 3. I found it was too many. I was just overdrawing them. But how relevant this card is incredible. It just makes all of your cards much bigger than theirs. 1,000 power doesn't sound like a lot, but it's incredibly valuable when you've got a 9,000 power Riku with Una on board and she can't be targeted by summons. It's a very scary thing to face against. Can't recommend this card enough. If you're playing Wind, you should be using this. Cool. And the next two are just one-offs. Play just a one-off Brother. I originally played this as 2, but I found again I was overdrawing it too much. The effect is good, but when you're drawing additional copies of it, they're no use when they're already on the board. You could play 2 in theory. I prefer the 1. It's just personal preference. And lastly is Cosmos. Now the reason why I play Cosmos, despite me only playing 1 light, is not only does it allow you to generate both wind and water, but it allows me, as I mentioned earlier, in a pinch, to play 6-drop Cloud. So in theory, you could use this to pay the red, and pay additional cards to pay the rest. And if this is on board and you then draw your light clouds, you can use the Clim Hazard ability by using that to pay the red and pay one else and tap him, and it deals 8,000 damage to anything you want. Sometimes it's relevant, sometimes it's not. But yeah, that's kind of my deck profile in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed it, and stick around, subscribe to the channel, just see more deck profiles and also some matches. Thank you.